James Knox Polk is one of the most ambitious and controversial figures in U.S. history. His presidency marked a period of significant territorial expansion for the nation, but it was not without major scandals and accusations. Although Polk fulfilled all his promises, the cost of these achievements was high. At the time Polk assumed office, the United States was in a state of territorial uncertainty and political tension. The nation was expanding westward, and more Americans sought to acquire new lands, even at the risk of conflict with other countries. Polk declared that his main goal was to pursue a policy of territorial expansion, and he pursued this plan with remarkable determination and toughness. From his first days in office, Polk faced accusations of conducting shadow politics, avoiding publicity, and making crucial decisions in a narrow circle of trusted advisors. Polk controlled all key areas of government, including foreign policy, the economy, and administrative matters. Many opponents compared his leadership style to a dictatorship, claiming that he trusted even his closest associates only reluctantly and preferred to handle everything personally. Polk announced that he would serve only one term and fulfill all his promises during that time. This unusual step was both admired and questioned. Many believed he was overly confident and suspected he had something to hide. The most significant scandal of Polk's presidency was the start of the Mexican-American War in 1846. Even before his election, he had spoken about the necessity of annexing California and New Mexico, which were part of Mexico at the time. When diplomatic negotiations failed, Polk decided to take a more aggressive approach. In the spring of 1846, he sent U.S. troops under General Zachary Taylor to a disputed area along the Rio Grande River. On April 25th, Mexican soldiers attacked an American patrol. Polk immediately declared that the Mexicans had shed American blood on American soil and demanded that Congress authorize war. However, many believed that this conflict had been deliberately provoked. Leaders of the Whig Party, including a young congressman named Abraham Lincoln, publicly accused Polk of deceiving Congress and starting an aggressive war for land conquest. Lincoln even demanded that Polk provide evidence that U.S. troops were truly on American soil and not invading Mexican territory. The Oregon border dispute was no less controversial. During his campaign, Polk promised that the United States would defend its claim to all of Oregon up to the 54th parallel. The slogan, 5440 or fight, became a symbol of his foreign policy. However, in 1846, Polk chose to compromise with Great Britain, agreeing to set the border along the 49th parallel. This decision drew sharp criticism from his supporters, especially among radical Democrats who had expected a tougher stance. Some even called him traitor to national interests. However, Polk believed that another war with Great Britain at that time would be disastrous for the country and preferred to focus on the conflict with Mexico. Polk's administration was also marred by accusations of corruption. The most scandalous case involved Postmaster General Cave Johnson, who was suspected of awarding contracts to friendly businesses on highly favorable terms. Although no direct evidence was ever found, the scandal seriously damaged the administration's reputation. Other cabinet members also fell under suspicion. Polk avoided launching open investigations, which only fueled rumors of his involvement in protecting his associates. The expansion of U.S. territory heightened the issue of slavery. The key question was whether the newly acquired lands would become free or slaveholding states. Polk tried to remain neutral, but his actions deepened the divide between the North and the South. The situation in California was particularly delicate. Southerners believed that Polk was not doing enough to turn the new territories into slaveholding zones, while Northerners feared that the entire West Coast would be open to slavery. This growing dissatisfaction became one of the precursors to the Civil War. Even Polk's private life was often the subject of public discussion. His wife, Sarah Polk, known for her intelligence and political savvy, had significant influence over her husband. Many contemporaries referred to her as the Gray Cardinal of the White House. Sarah played an active role in state affairs, helping Polk with speechwriting and editing official letters. This caused considerable controversy. Conservative parts of society criticized her for interfering in men's matters, while others admired her intellect and strength of character. The couple's lack of children also attracted public curiosity and debate. In the 19th century, this was considered unusual for a political leader. Speculations abounded, with some critics claiming that Polk devoted too much time to politics and too little to family life. Despite scandals and criticism, James Polk is remembered as the president who changed the map of the United States. Under his leadership, the country grew by nearly a third, acquiring California, New Mexico, Texas, and Oregon. However, his legacy remains controversial. Polk's actions exacerbated internal divisions, which eventually led to the Civil War. Nevertheless, even his opponents respected his determination and work ethic. After leaving office, Polk retired from politics, intending to enjoy a peaceful life on his Tennessee plantation. But his retirement was short-lived. Shortly after his return, he contracted cholera and died just 3 months later. Thus ended the life of one of the most controversial yet undeniably successful U.S. presidents who left an indelible mark on the country's history.